this hour to discuss is trial attorney Miguel Custodio. And Miguel, this to me is where it all matters in terms of what's going to really happen at trial, because this is a huge motion to suppress. The state has the burden. The state has to show, because it was a warrantless search, that it was done properly and that the things seized from the defendant's home should be allowed in trial by the state. How does this affect a case if it goes either way?
This is a big hearing, like you said, and it's a big motion. It has some really important implications. If the judge decides that the search was not done according to the law, then that's a big win for the defense. Something that I wanted to actually talk about, however, was, I'm not sure if either of you ladies picked up on this. There seems to be a little bit of friction between the prosecution and the judge. There was a couple of exchanges, both in this hearing as well as the hearing that the judge was talking about not having enough jurors. And one thing that I picked up was that the prosecutor said, well, you asked us for our opinion. And she sat down rather hastily. And those things, to me, they're very important little exchanges that jurors pick up on. And I say this because, as you know, ladies, I've told you that I was recently on a jury panel, and we were able to pick up little exchanges between the judge and the attorneys. And so I found this to be very interesting, and I wonder if this is going to continue and how that is actually going to impact, if anything, the case.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out, Miguel, because that's unusual for the prosecution and the judge to have that friction. Sometimes it's more the defense and the judge, because prosecutors work with their judge often.
Day in and day out, usually.
Very often. Miguel, real quick before we have to get to a break, this comes down to murder versus suicide, and this was initially ruled a suicide.
Yeah, this is going to be a really tough case, because, in my opinion, the prosecution is going to have to convince the juries that this guy framed, like he made it seem like she committed suicide, but how and why would he have left an unspent bullet in her body? It's really hard to wrap your head around it, and so it's going to be a tough, in my opinion, it's going to be tough for the prosecution.
And one of the things I'm looking forward to hearing is what items were actually seized from the defendant's home, because maybe those items clarify exactly why the state says he did it. We just don't know. All right, stand by. Before we take a break, here are a few other cases that Court TV is tracking. First, in Texas, jury selection is underway for the ex-police officer who was part of the slow police response to the Uvalde school massacre back in 2022. Adrian Gonzalez is one of 2 officers charged with 29 counts of child endangerment and abandonment. 19 students and 2 teachers were killed at Robb Elementary in the 22 mass shooting.
Yeah, tragic.